of the current administration. Our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to have every one of you here present. And I'd like one more time, for emphasis, and to make the truth that we are telling to be doubly true, that this is one moment that we will ever remember for decades to come. We are going to be treated to something wonderful today by an eminent scholar, someone who is not just an eminent scholar, but a global scholar, an intellectual of high distinction, and one with profound rotundity of academic excellence. He is going to share with us some insightful information about a topic that we are yet to know. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoy you. Just sit back, relax, and have a feel of what is yet to come. One more time, I say thank you as we enjoy some very beautiful soft music before we formally commence this event. Thank you very much. About talking investing answer. About talking investing answer. Father, Father, make and physical social spiritual that he has all one you need a city good light here and forever. That's the pastor. But I feel a yoga for opening prayer. We bow our heads while we pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this moment. We thank you that because you gathered us here together to celebrate your goodness. We want to thank you for our honored guests that are here. We thank you especially for your son who is going to give the valedictory lecture today, Professor Tony Valola, on behalf in honor of our Vice Chancellor, President Vice Chancellor, Professor Ademola F. Tayo. As we gather today, we invite your presence to be here with us. And thou, Lord, we pray that thou, Lord, will superintend every aspect of the program today. And let it be that your name will be honored at the end of this program, and we will all be blessed. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, someone brought us here today. And I shall be inviting Dr. Jonathan, but let me say, please come up, that the person who brought us here today, he, permit me just to say this, erudite, scholarly, inquisitive, resourceful, creative, analytical, purpose-driven, goal-oriented, internationally acclaimed academic and scholar. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us put our hands together for Professor Tony. Dr. Dangana, please can you join me here to recognize our other guests who are here? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you are glad to be here, can you please put your hands together for yourself? I think I can literally tell who and who clapped because I didn't get the upload the way the resounding numbers look like here. So may I request that you, at this time now, upload yourself for being here. Professor Dunaki, thank you very much. I heard your applaud louder than that of Professor Wubiji. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered in Babcock University for a valedictory lecture. And the lecturer, in his wisdom, has been here with a number of individuals. And in no order of priority, join me to make welcome
here in Babcock University. The President Vice Chancellor of Babcock University is here in person of Professor Ademola S. Ayo. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. I had to go that route because he is the one in whose honor the lecture is being delivered. But amazingly, Professor Tayo, in his own wisdom also, has decided not to come here by himself. In the capacity that he is here, that I'm introducing him, his wife is also here. He worked for Babcock. Sometimes I wonder what goes on at home when salary doesn't come. Who will she tell? How will she say it? But she is here. Join me to make welcome Professor Grace. Hi. Professor Grace Tayo, please, if you don't mind, I would like to relocate you from where you are to sit beside Professor Ademola S. Tayo, your husband. That's the first lady of Babcock. Is that all you can do? Thank you, first lady. We're glad that you are here. We're on ending smiles. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the lecturer of today, in due time, will be recognized appropriately. But other university officers are also here, and I am sure Dr. Suleiman will do justice to that when he comes on stage. Mine is to also recognize our esteemed students of Babcock University. If you have been a student before, you are still in school, about to graduate, will graduate, intending to graduate, you willingly want to graduate, or you have an extra year to graduate later. Please put your hands together for yourself. Wow. God will answer your prayer. Those of you who want to graduate, you will graduate. Those who have graduated, you will come back to graduate again. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have in our midst Mr. and Mrs. Oyebile. They are good friends of our guest lecturer of today. Please make Mr. and Mrs. Oyebile welcome. Thank you very much, sir. We're glad that you are here with us. Alongside, I also have Dr. Dotun Chongolano. Please make Dr. Watson welcome. Amazingly, he is a member of Babcock. Mr. Ibrahim is also here. Wherever you are, thank you very much for being here. Pan Africa University Press is also here. Thank you very much for your presence here. Ladies and gentlemen, I also have Doctor and Doc. I don't know. Okay. Is it the wife that comes first or the husband? Both of them. Okay. Doctor slash Doctor Samson, Dr. Yemisi, so it's a dual doctorship. Ijaola. Please make Dr. Ijaola welcome. As I mentioned the name, Professor Mandon's smiles were different. I don't know. Prof, does she look familiar? Dr. Ijaola has been a staff of Babcock and has taken a short break. She has served as a cardiologist in Babcock. Please make her feel welcome back home. I can assure you that Dr. Mandon is ready to take you back. If he doesn't tell me, we will take you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time, and I pray that the time we will spend here will be a rewarding one. You're welcome and have a beautiful afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Dangana, the director, alumni and connectivity. Sometimes he has a plastic sense of humor, but then he might be forgiven because he's a young man. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite, but please permit me
our distinguished guest lecturer, Mr. Decades in journalism together. We have been watching regularly on TVT News as an analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite to give us a welcome address to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Senior Vice President Academics, an accomplished administrator, proficient, proactive, skilled, and very engaging. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Professor Philemon Amanzi.
Good afternoon, everybody. Are you glad to be here today? If you are smiling, many are not smiling. What's the problem? Please smile a little bit. Today is just Tuesday. Am I correct? All right. Give somebody beside and say, brother, sister, welcome. Don't able anybody and say, send a hand of welcome to somebody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The smiles are now infectious. The President Chancellor of Backup University and honoree of the day, Professor, the valedictory lecturer of the day, Professor Outgoing Malola. Deputy Vice Chancellor, Management Services, Professor Jacob Haniso. The President, Vice President, Financial Administration, somewhere in the congregation, Vice President, Student Development, Provost of Colleges, Deans of Schools, and heads of departments who are present today. Also, shared principal officers of the university in this auditorium. The transition committee for this period, professors, vice chancellors, and academic leaders from other universities who are here today. Faculty, staff, and students of Backup University who are present. Adventist Men's Organization, Adventist Women's Ministries, Adventist Youth Ministries members who are present, NAF members, district members and officials who are here today. My lost temporal, spiritual, and academic, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure and delight that I welcome you to this special occasion. We are here this afternoon to witness the valedictory lecture being presented in honor of Professor Ademola Fidenkayo, who has served as the President Chancellor of Backup University for the past 10 years. This valedictory lecture will be delivered by Professor Outgoing Malola, a revered and globally renowned historian from the University of Texas, USA. Friends, today is not just another day, not just another connection that we are making here today. I want to let you know that history will be made here today by an erudite administrator through a distinguished academic historian. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have such a wonderful gathering, colleagues, friends, young and old scholars, and family members. Omega period of the administration of Professor
This is an African talking drum. It says whatsoever you want to say. And it sings. It can be used to abuse. And it can be used to praise sing. But I'm going to praise sing today. Ademola. Ademola. Okotoyin. It says, pati pati tambe, jeje loku. You know? Adebola Okoluwa Toyin. Ade awalamu orodun. Ade
Mr. Dave Makinde, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure, really, an honor to be inviting to come up stage eminent Professor Toyin Falola, not yet to give his lecture, but to perform a brief ceremony precursor to the lecture he's going to perform. Professor Toyin Falola, sir. I'm actually starstruck by your presence. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a gift for Professor Tayo and an university that I want to unveil. So I want him to come forward with his wife as I present the gift. Read one. Read one. So, Mrs. Tayo, you have to open the gift. It's a portrait of your husband. It may not, if they didn't get it right, we have to apologize. Please read one, come and help. Nobody can guess the content.
We are very curious.
So, we want to open it. Open. You can't guess the content. Here. It's a sculpture from Ile-Ife. It's a pleasure to present this book that I wrote on Babcock University. It's a book of over 600 pages. The first to be written on this university by an outsider.
Thank you so much, sir.
And the Pan-African University Press is outside where you can buy the book. They're there. It comes in soft copy and in hard copy. They will tell you the price because I don't know. I will talk about the book and it becomes the official gift whenever you have visitors. And two more things. On behalf of the University of Texas, I was asked to present this award, the Thabo Mbeki Award for Excellence in Leadership, with the approval of the former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, presented to Dr. Ademola Tayo. And it's an award for excellence in leadership to an African who has distinguished himself or herself in the public or private sector through visionary dynamic development, people-centered institution building, and ethical leadership. The recipient of the Thabo Mbeki Award must be a high-caliber individual with an unblemished record of outstanding service, either in the public or private sector. The awardee must be someone who is committed to the project of African Renaissance. And on behalf of President Thabo Mbeki, congratulations.
Shake, okay. Okay. Then you shake him as
This is from Cameroon by King Achankeng Nyatema of Atubich Kingdom, in accordance with the culture and traditions of Atubich Kingdom, hereby confirm Professor Tayo in the title of Inkemia Akate. By His Imperial Majesty, Professor Fonkem Achakeng I. Congratulations.
The mic. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm short of words to, on behalf of my wife, convey our heartfelt gratitude to our revered Professor Toyin Falola. I was in the US in July when the call came, and he said, give me somebody to plan. I'm aware you are finishing your tenure. I want to fly in and deliver a valedictory lecture. Few weeks after, he said, give me the account number of someone. I'm sending 4 million naira. And to organize a reception, and that reception is going to take place this evening. But if you have been watching the newspaper over the last few weeks, he had run about 3 editions of program for the university, covering the university and different sites and all over. I want to thank you very much, sir. Despite his busy schedule, within 3 or 4 days, he called me and said, I'm in Uganda giving a lecture. The second day, he said, I'm in Japan. The third day, about 4 days, he said, I'm in South Africa. So he's been going all over the world because he's a recognized figure in the field of history. I want to thank you very much, sir. I wonder how many passports you use in a year. Because almost every week is all over the world. I'm sure you have covered over almost 200 countries, going from place to place on intellectual discourse. Thank you very much for honoring us, and the Lord will continue to bless you abundantly. On behalf of my dear wife and my family and the university community, that book, we will always give it to guests as they come. It's going to be in the library, and we continue to treasure the book. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the honor and privilege to receive in our midst another incredibly gifted cerebral individual who soon will be taking his oath of office as the incoming President Vice Chancellor of this great institution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us together recognize the presence of Professor Afolarin Olutunde Ojewale. want to have a cultural performance to entertain you all. Is actually a part of this, an item on the program of today.
Tọkàntọkàn ó yẹ ká mọ̀ yìí wọ́n bá ṣiṣẹ́ takuntakun ó yẹ ká pọ̀nlé ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ tọkàntọkàn ó yẹ ká mọ̀ yìí wọ́n. Bàbá wa Adémọ́lá ìwà rẹ̀ ń wá o. Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́? Bàbá wa Adémọ́lá ìwà rẹ̀ ń wá o. Bàbá wa. Congratulations on your retirement today. Òkú oríire. Òkú oríire. Òkú oríire. Congratulations on your retirement today. Òkú oríire. Ó dẹni lárugẹ ẹni tó ṣiṣẹ́ lówùúrọ̀ tó ṣiṣẹ́ lálẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kí o lẹ́lọ́bọ̀ sinmi oko. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi o. Ilé lọ́bọ̀ sinmi oko. Adémọ́lá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Báwa. Táyọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi o. Ní ilé kú lọ́wọ́. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi o. Ilé lọ́bọ̀ sinmi oko. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Gbogbo Babcock University. Olórí ni bàbá wa Adémọ́lá àbí ṣé mò ń parọ́ ni ẹja mi. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi o. Ó nígbà sinmi lẹ́kùn lọ́wọ́. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ó yẹ kó sinmi. Ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ ó yẹ kó sinmi o. Ilé lọ́bọ̀ sinmi oko. Eré o! Nítorí Ẹlẹ́dùmarè, mo kí gbogbo yín pátá ẹ bá ń dìde kẹ́ ẹ bá ń gbé bàbá lárugẹ. Eré o! Eré o là ń fọ ọmọ ayò ó ṣe. Adémọ́lá dá ọmọ ayò. Eré o! Eré o là ń fọ ọmọ ayò ó ṣe. Ó dá ọmọ ayò. Eré o! Adémọ́lá. Eré o là ń fọ ọmọ ayò ó ṣe. Bóyá mo ní erin fẹ̀yìntì sí òfò wàhálà wá jèrè ọba máa jò wáyé asán. Wàhálà wá jèrè ọba máa jò wáyé asán o. Wàhálà wá jèrè ọba máa jò wáyé asán. Ó yá ní màmá kan o. Màmá ra tó mọ yìí ọmọ. Màmá wa Adémọ́lá. Màmá ra tó mọ yìí ọmọ. Màmá ra tó. Bàbá o bàbá o bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa. Bàbá o bàbá o bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa. Bàbá o bàbá o bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí fún wa. Bàbá o bàbá o bàbá o. Olúwa dá bàbá sí. Ó yẹ ká gbẹ́lẹ́dùmarè ọba tó dá gbogbo wa ga. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Bàbá àwọn tó jọ bí yín ọ̀pọ̀ kò sí mọ́ ó yẹ kó gbẹ́lẹ́dùmarè ọba ga. Ní tó bá nífẹ̀ẹ́ bàbá mi Adémọ́lá kó bá ń dìde kó bá ń gbẹ́lẹ́dùmarè ga nítorí bàbá Adémọ́lá. Ó yẹ mo ní alápá kan dúpẹ́ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ kan dúpẹ́ alápá kan dúpẹ́ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ kan dúpẹ́ èmi tí mo wà láìlẹ́kàn mo wá ṣọpẹ́ tèmi. Alápá kan dúpẹ́ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ kan dúpẹ́ ó dúpẹ́ alápá kan dúpẹ́ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ kan dúpẹ́ èmi tí mo wà láìlẹ́kàn mo wá ṣọpẹ́ tèmi. Ó yẹ gbogbo popcorn ó pàtẹ́wọ́. Mo fẹ́ mọ báwo èèyàn ṣe fẹ́ yín kó pàtẹ́wọ́ kó pàtẹ́wọ́ kó pàtẹ́wọ́ ẹni bá Adémọ́lá kó pàtẹ́wọ́ kó pàtẹ́wọ́ lọ́ba Adémọ́lá clap your hands kó pàtẹ́wọ́ I say clap your hands clap your hands if you love Adémọ́lá clap your hands clap your hands if you love Adémọ́lá clap your hands clap your hands daddy people really loves you clap your hands clap your hands stand up and dance stand up and dance kó dìde jó 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 ẹni bá Adémọ́lá kó dìde jó kó dìde jó Adémọ́lá kó dìde jó kó dìde jó Adémọ́lá kó dìde jó mo pé kó dìde jó Ọ̀ṣun lé téńté Ọ̀ṣun lé téńté Ọ̀ṣun lé téńté Ọ̀ṣun pa ó yá mo ní kóńtà yìí wá ìrìn ọdún yìí àti lọ́jọ́ gbogbo. Kóńtà yìí wá ìrìn ọdún yìí àti lọ́jọ́ gbogbo. Kóńtà yìí wá. Ó yá ẹ jẹ́ ká náwó wa báyìí ẹ jẹ́ náwó wa báyìí. Ó yá máa fi agbóhùn rẹ ṣe máa fi agbóhùn rẹ ṣe o àtẹ̀wọ́ mi gbàlájà o. Máa fi agbóhùn rẹ ṣe àtẹ̀wọ́ mi gbàlájà o. Máa fi agbóhùn rẹ ṣe àtẹ̀wọ́ mi gbàlájà o. Adémọ́lá mi o. Adémọ́lá o. Táyọ̀ o. Pòfẹ́sọ̀ mi àtàtà tó mòye bàbá máa dá gọ̀jọ̀gọ̀jọ̀ ìwọ lọ́jọ́ òní yẹn. Lọ́lá Elédùmarè ọba a ò ní fẹ́ lómi ṣe ẹ́. Ìwọ lọmọ Ọ̀ṣun o. Ọmọ wọn lọ́sùn máa dá gọ̀jọ̀gọ̀jọ̀ Adémọ́lá Ọ̀ṣun ṣẹ̀ǹgẹ̀ṣẹ́ olóyè àwọn àwẹ̀dẹ kó tó wẹ̀ mọ́. Ìlànilé àwọn bàbá ẹ̀ gangan. Adémọ́lá o bàbá onínú rẹ̀ máa gbóhùn mo ní o máa gbóhùn lẹ́nu mi. Ìlà ọ̀rọ̀gún nílé àwọn bàbá ẹ̀ ìlàládé wà àwọn òkòwòrà dérí àbíbákọ̀ mo ní ìlàládé wà òkòwòrà dérí ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ òpinlá bí ìgùn ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ òpin ìgùn ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ òpinlá mo ní lọ́ ń bẹ lóko ògùn ń bẹ lájà tó mi dùgbẹ́ Adémọ́lá ọmọ ọlára nìyẹn ọmọ àjẹrò sánìyẹn ìyẹn nílé àwọn bàbá tó bí ọlọ́mọ Adémọ́lá máa gbọ́ dídùn ẹnu mi lọ́lá Elédùmarè ọba bó o ti fẹ̀yìntì lónìí o ò ní fẹ̀yìntì lékú lọ́wọ́ o ò ní pọ̀ mo lọ́ ò ní fọwọ́ gbọ́mọ̀ sí mo ní ètò wa ní ṣe Adémọ́lá o mo lóò ní kúkú òjijì lọ́lá Elédùmarè ọba ó máa bẹ ọ̀bẹ ní bẹ́ṣu àtẹ́lẹsẹ̀ wọn sì máa bẹ̀ nọ̀wọ̀ lọ́lá Elédùmarè ọba gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ gbàdémọ́lá ó yẹ lọ́lá Elédùmarè ọba ẹ̀dìdè ká ẹ̀ bàdémọ́ sẹ́nu wa òdùn ni gbogbo nínú ẹ̀bàdùn pátápátá ẹ̀jẹ̀ àdìgbé ẹ̀bàdémọ́lá lọ́wọ́. ẹ dákun ọba mi gbàdémọ́lá mi lárugẹ àbí nítorí aṣọ nìkan ni mò ń kì mí Ìbàdàn tó bá ń bẹ níbi ẹ̀ máa ṣàfihàn ẹ̀jẹ̀ ìrọwọ́ yín gbogbo Ìbàdàn tó bá ń bẹ níbi ẹ̀ máa ṣàfihàn mo ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣù òní o ẹ̀yin Olúyọ̀lé ọmọ àjòrò sùn Ìbàdàn oníbánisọ̀rọ̀ ìnílọ́nilẹ̀ sógun ìjàgbére ní ìjà gbogbo Ìbàdàn ọmọ ọgbẹ́ ṣẹ́ṣẹ́ mọ̀mọ́ ṣá o ǹlẹ́ ọmọ agbáyàyà 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 màyà àgbò dúdú ni bàbá yín fi ń bọ ológun ewúrẹ́ dúdú sóhun ni bàbá yín fi ń bọ ọ̀sábàrí ológun òní kéré ọ̀sábàrí ò kọjá níjọba òdìjọ́ eré ẹ̀ránṣẹ́ pọ̀ ológun níjọba òdìjọ́ ọjà ẹ̀ránṣẹ́ pọ̀ ọ̀sábàrí Ìbàdàn ìlú òjò ìlú Àjàyí ìlú Ìbíkúnlé ìlú Ògúnmọ́lá olódò kọkẹrù ọwọ́ kéńbẹ̀rẹ̀ bì gbogbo Ìjẹ̀bú Ọ̀ṣọ́ Ìjẹ̀bú Ọ̀ṣọ́ àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú òsì lé Ìjẹ̀bú Ọ̀ṣọ́ bọ́wọ́ Ìjẹ̀bú ọ̀yọ́ fẹ́mi rẹ̀ wíníwíní gbogbo Ìjẹ̀bú ọ̀yọ́ ẹ̀bọ síbi ni mo bá ń kọrin kí àwọn bàbá tó bá bí yín lọ́mọ ẹ̀yin Ìjẹ̀bú ẹ̀sùn mọ́ mi kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ dídùn ẹnu mi Adémọ́lá lọ́lọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba bàbá mi onínúure ó máa bẹ ọ̀bẹ ní bẹ́ṣu àtẹ́lẹsẹ̀ wọn sì máa bẹ̀ nà o.
láwa o Adémọ́lá wa o Adémọ́lá wa ṣàwàdà
Adémọ́lá wa o
Adémọ́lá wa ṣàwàdà
Adémọ́lá wa o
ẹ mọ́mọ́ Adémọ́lá wa ṣàwàdà
Adémọ́lá wa o mọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ láwọn máa ṣe àwọn ọjà mọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ láwọn máa ṣe.
Thank you very much. And so we are set, right, for the lecture. What is the title of the lecture? Can we read it together? The transformation of what? Can we take it one more time? The transformation of Baba. I'm pleased to invite Dr. Jonathan Dangana, who is going to read the citation of the guest lecturer. And if you wouldn't mind, I would also like to request that our guest lecturer come up stage, stand while his citation is read. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give him a round of applause as he steps forward? Dr. Jonathan, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if you are here this afternoon and are pleased to have our distinguished lecturer here in our midst, can you please put your hands together for his presence? This afternoon stands before us an erudite scholar, someone who, by mere looking at his face, you may want to guess his age. But your guess is as good as mine because you will just be wrong. Toyin Falola is a Jacob and Franz Sanger Chair in the Humanities and at the University and a distinguished teaching professor
at the University of Texas, Austin, in the United States of America. He is the author of numerous books and essays. He is a series editor in the following selected books, journals that you may wish to refer to. 1, he is the series editor of the culture and customs of Africa by Greenwood Press. He is the series editor of Rochester, Studies in African Studies and the Diaspora. He is a series editor of Classic Authors and Texts in Africa by Africa World Press. He is a series editor of Carolina Studies on Africa and the Black World series. He is a series editor of African History and Modernity by the Palgrave Macmillan, and a series editor of African Identities by Cambridge University Press. I thought somebody will want to put his hand. Professor Toyin Falola has received various awards and honors at the University of Texas at Austin, including he has taken awards numerous in number, but permit me to just select just but a few. He is a recipient of the Texas X Teaching Award, the Chancellor's Council's Outstanding Teaching Award, Outstanding Graduate Teaching Award, and the Career Research Excellence Award. He received the chair of A.S. Haswick Prize for the best book on Africa. He is the chair of the Kelvin Book Prize for the best book on African history. Ladies and gentlemen, he is also a recipient of the Joel Gregory Prize for the Canadian Association of African Studies. He is and was once the vice president of the International Scientific Committee, UNESCO, on Slave Route Project and the president of the African Studies Association. Aside from going to school, Toyin Falola is a recipient of 28 honorary doctorate degrees.
Thank you very much. We thank you. We thank you very much. Thank you. So, it's a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon. And this has been an iconic room for me. I have organized conferences on this campus, brought the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, the governor of Ogun State, Kuka. I think I brought the current secretary of JAM, Ishaq Olorode, and some other distinguished people. I think I must have brought to this campus over 1,000 scholars from different parts of the world. And when I was in Uganda this summer, one of the person I brought was singing the praise of Babcock, saying that he has never seen a campus so compact with a school, with the supermarket, and with everything. It was very full of praise for the school. When I was receiving an honorary doctorate from Olabisi Onabanjo University, the governor was there, and he saw 240 people who followed me to receive the degree. And the governor said, as a politician, you have to pay all the 240 people. Otherwise, they won't follow you. The reason why this is important is that this is my idea. It's not the university's idea. It's not Professor Tayo's idea. That just do your own work. Other people will notice. And that notice counts for something. So this has become my own passion. Secretly, I've been working on this book on Babcock. Nobody knew about this book. No human being knew about this book. And I stopped at 676 pages. It is not a propaganda book. It's not a propaganda book. It is insiders who write propaganda book. When they begin to read it, certain things they will not agree, certain things they will agree, certain things they will modify. On page, this lecture has started, by the way. On page 603, I reported the Babcock data and primary sources that I used. It's enormous, which I gathered behind their back. And there's a long appendix, major speeches by previous vice chancellors, important documents, and I thank Mrs. Grace Tayo, who introduced me to those who made the records available. And I interviewed over 1,000 people for this book. Staff, former students, those who are happy, those who are angry. I followed the research methodology. And if you have a copy of the book, I fully reported the methodology that made this book possible. I wrote a long, long section on the methodology. In other words, when I'm the first recipient of the academic D.Lit degree of the University of Ibadan. It's not an honorary doctorate. I work for that degree. The first and so far the only one. So I said, look, suppose it's a work for a D.Lit academic degree. And I said, look, this is the methodology. How I arrived. The only thing you will not find in the book is I deliberately remove all the gossips. You are not going to find a single sentence of gossip. I'm not a gossip collector. So this book does not contain a single sentence on Babcock. She may not be aware, the Vice Chancellor may not be aware, that years ago, when they set up Student Financial Aid Scheme, I began to contribute to those. Okay, he said he wants to change the microphone. Can you hear me at the back? We began to assist people after they finished. They needed to collect their certificates, but they didn't have money to pay. And that initiative started from the College of Social Sciences, and I became a contributor to that project. So, I narrate a story of vision, of determination, and reinvention. A story of how what started as a vision came to become one of Nigeria's best private universities. It's a story of the journey, the setbacks, the milestones, and moments that have shaped Babcock University's institutional image and identity into what it is today. The book consists of 5 connected sections, each addressing critical elements of the university's experience, its establishment, its philosophy, growth, challenges, and future direction. And I wrote various chapters to demonstrate the university's relentless pursuit of excellence, service, and innovation in the higher education sector. I started with origins, growth, and development, where I narrate the story behind how Babcock University as an academic institution was founded. In chapter 1, I wrote on this transformation phase. Chapter 2, on the early beginnings, I recount the origin of Babcock University, its inception, trailblazers, and early ambitions. I tell the story of the events that led to the birth of the institution, the individuals whose dreams and labor made it become, the initial debates and choices that launched it into its formative years. And I situate Babcock University in Nigerian's history of university development, highlighting how the advent of the institution sealed gaps in access to quality and values-based education. I narrate the pioneer challenges, the founder's visionary value, and the humble starting points upon which the university dream took wings. In chapter 3, I explain the philosophical foundations of this university, which deal with the religious, intellectual, and moral values that are the heart of Babcock University's identity. From Seventh-day Adventist educational theory, the chapter discusses faith and integrated learning, character development, and service to humanity as the underpinnings of the university's educational theory. And the chapter looks at how these principles support academic study, administration, and campus life, and render Babcock University unique as a college practicing holistic education. Develop the head, develop the hand, and develop the heart. In chapter 4, analyze how it becomes a brand and an identity. A reflection of how the university evolved from an educational idea to a respected and well-known national brand. This is a story of how the university came to create its own institutional culture, symbols, and ethos that make up its identity in Nigeria's university world. I trace Babcock University's commitment to excellence, to discipline, to integrity as brand values, and I trace how these have been rendered into its institutional reputation, public image, and student experience. And I also interviewed many of your students who are outside of the country. In chapter 5 on development agenda, I deal with the initiatives and development of the university via strategic vision, leadership, and policy formulation. I discuss how successful administrations prepared and executed development plans. And I was interested in the effect of what I call strategic governance in achieving sustainability. In chapter 6, I look at the era that I call growth acceleration. Looking at the documents on what I call the tipping points and turning points that propel Babcock University to national visibility. And I look at points of program and faculty expansion, international partnership, and technological advancement. In the second part of the book, I chronicle the challenges, reformation, and institutional change of the university. In chapter 7, navigating the tense waters, I look at the capacity to contain environmental and institutional pressure. And I review the university's record of leadership change, policy change, and adapting to the fast challenging education landscape. And I chronicle the institution's crisis solving and innovative ability. In chapter 8, challenges are weak links, is a candid account of the problems that confront the university: financial, administrative, structural, and human. I speak of periods of belt tightening, institutional introspection, and reform. Instead of seeing these problems as weak points, I explain how they were a learning experience in resilience and institutional flexibility. Part 4 is prospectus driven. And I emphasize here the university's global reach outside of the country and the university's evolving role within an internationalized education sector. In chapter 9, internationalizing education, I chronicle the growing international emphasis of Babcock University. I talk about the university's partnership with international institutions, participation in exchange programs, and engagement in international educational scholarship. I supply data on internationalization, which has enriched the curriculum, enhanced research collaboration, and provided students and faculty with opportunity. I reveal how Babcock University has become a Nigerian and world university with a vision to graduate, to produce students who can work anywhere in the world. And I met many of the universities in Canada. I convened a meeting with almost 40 of them in UK to compare their experiences. And in the final chapters, I talk about the impact of this university in the long run, and I summarize both the impact in qualitative and quantitative terms. And I met with many graduates who have been agents of change in education, in business, in governance, and social development. I reveal how Babcock's university impact reaches from the academics to nation building and moral transformation. In takeaways from Babcock University, chapter 11, I reflected on its long history, summarizing the finest takeaway from the life of the institution: faith in vision, tenacity in the midst of challenges, and dedication to excellence. I invite readers to view Babcock University not as a university, but as an articulation of conviction. Let me repeat. Babcock University as an articulation of conviction, discipline, and divine leading. In the epilogue, I outlined the university's future path. What is its future? A multi-horizon strategic visioning, grounded on reflection of the dynamic interplay between its internal strength, religious culture, and outward pressures that are shaping world education. I remind all of you that the future prosperity of the university will depend on whether or not it's a union of moral and spiritual leadership, technological innovation, and its capacity to have sustainable models of governance and assume its place as an African center of ethical knowledge and transformation. Thank you. I won't perform the first miracle of Jesus Christ in this room. I won't turn this into wine. Thank you. I draw a curtain on the methodological guideline, and that methodology, your staff and students can benefit from it. I studied successive vice chancellors, not with the way the data is presented to me, because the data is always comparing one vice chancellor or the other. That is not what I did. This is what I did. I studied each one of them, and I came up with the philosophies that guided them. The philosophies are not the same. That early years, they were dealing with creation and reflections, how to build a new university different from what previously existed. That's a management form. And you can't take that management form and compare it with what followed in subsequent years. That's a misleading matrix. Then I look at the era of institutional mobilization. The challenge that faced a vice chancellor at that particular time, which is to work with staff and students to create a set of ideas and then apply them to existing structures. That is a different management style. Then I look at innovation and leadership, that as you introduce new visions to meet the challenges of the era, as in the creation of the medical school, that is another way of thinking. And then I look at the era of resistance and negotiation, how you have to rethink changes, how human agency is at the heart of African institutional renewal, from rethinking African governance and universities to redefining development, a call to cultivate intellectual, ethical, and creative capacities among individuals. So in my book, you are not going to see a comparative assessment of each vice chancellor. Rather, I did a comparative contest, the contest that shapes leadership, because the contest is not the same if you have studied the data over time. And I spend a lot of time looking at human agency that have to reshape institutions, how you have to deal with structural limits. The new vice chancellor is coming. There will be structural possibilities and there will be structural limitations. He has to inherit them. Abi? Colonial legacies, bureaucratic inertia, economic dependencies, and ideological systems. However, through reflexivity, solidarity, and creative vision, a vice chancellor can transform and disrupt the institution, and he can invent new institutional logics and examine how new institutional logics are created. And here is my conclusion. Professor Lalade, while I was reading his book on Babcock, he followed what I will call a structuration theory that believes that leaders must create structures and lay the foundations of institutions. That is what he did. Professor Makinde, 2006 to 2015, followed Bordeaux's book on practice, which argues that habitudes and field dynamics allow transformation through investment and symbolic capital. That's what he did. I mean, he departed from what Alalade did. And what about Tayo, 2016 to 25? He followed Ayasen's capability approach, which seeks to reshape and consolidate existing capabilities. That's what he did. So, when my data begins to say this one is better than one, no. When I reflected, I said, no, they are not doing the same thing. You understand? And in my futuristic planning, I said, incoming Vice Chancellor, why don't you apply Tony Fowler's theory of epistemic agency? Which I can develop for you elaborately, that reconstruct knowledge institutions and decolonize programs. And I will develop that proposal for him in our laboratory. Studies on Nigerians' private universities are focused on want to uncover their importance within a sector that has the capacity to even out the imbalance between demand and supply in the country's higher education system. The imbalance between demand and supply, overcrowding in federal institutions, the dilapidation of facilities, the deterioration of instructional quality motivated the NUC to liberalize private institutions. Babcock is a faith-based institution in an environment created by the factors that triggered NUC liberalization of higher education. It's an Adventist school. It's followed the teaching of the church. It introduces medical education in the private sector, 400-bed teaching hospital, a variety of achievements. And it has contributed positively to what I call pluralism in the Nigerian education sector. On this campus, you have Muslims, you have Anglicans, you have Catholics. It is not restricted to members of the church. And in this pluralism, it has generated what I call a new moral economy of learning. Let me repeat, a new moral economy of learning, whereby knowledge is not only created for technical advancement, but also for moral reformation. And you have to judge the university along this line. And I assessed it in all the departments, all the major highlights, the awards that they have received. I analyzed all of them. And I analyzed many of its achievements. A record of 3,568 students that graduated from university in 2025, 243 earning first-class degrees, the graduation of 3,229 students in 2024, 241 of them with first-class degree. 2024, 9 Babcock University students graduated with first-class honors from the Nigerian Law School Bar Finals, setting a record for the highest number of graduates from a private university in the country. And I look at the research profile of the university, comparing it with other universities in terms of research output, publications. And one aspect that stands out is its entrepreneurial focus, which has been integrated into the curriculum across all departments. I look at the innovation challenge, a big initiative, and I look at its collaboration with University of Glasgow. I followed the career of alumni, now over 15,000 graduates. I look at the notable alums that have finished from here. I spoke with some of them, Shola Akinlade, the co-founder of Paystack, an internationally recognized singer, Davido, Speaker of Oyo State House of Assembly, Debo Ogundoyin, an award-winning actor, Olumide Oworu. I compiled a list of the most successful students. I'm sure the university will be asking me for some of my data. And you have to tap on this alumni base. And I reviewed the recognition, the World Branding Forum 2024, Founders Award, 11 schools have earned awards in research, health sciences, and business. Faith has been Babcock University's foundation. And this faith must continue. Its achievement is remarkable. The perception, the public perception is extremely positive, because I also spoke with people who have nothing to do with the university. I interviewed parents whose children are here, and I also interviewed members of the public, just for them to tell me about what they think about Babcock. So let me conclude. What is the future of Babcock? It started from a humble beginning, but it has expanded into medicine, law, education, computing, and engineering. It is among the few universities in Nigeria with a fully functional teaching hospital and a history of academic stability, free of strikes for over 20 years. To members of the church, they won't agree with what I want to say next. It's a hybrid product. Members of the church may just see it simply as a faith product. That tells me. My data tells me that it's a hybrid product, balancing global Adventist connections and the imperatives of local growth. It's very hybrid. It doesn't say members of Shagamu Nation community, you must be Seventh-day Adventist. That's what we call hybridity. When the professors want to buy food, they go to the market. They are not saying we are looking for Seventh-day Adventist people to buy yam and tomato. That's hybridity. And its future will be significantly shaped by the easy transfer of global values to the African experience. His legacy will rest on a particular ability to combine faith and creativity. Professor Ojawole is not just assuming the office of the Vice Chancellor. He's here now. He's leading a university that holds pride of place among the topmost faith-based private universities in Nigeria's higher education landscape. The structure has been created and the values have been created. So in the next 10 years, so I'm speaking to the next Vice Chancellor now, there must be a multi-horizon strategic forecast. In this multi-horizon forecast, there must be the interaction of internal strengths that we have now, combined with institutional faith ethos and the external drivers. The university cannot control the external drivers. That's not possible. No university can control the external drivers. And those external drivers will be rapid technological changes. You either have to move with those technological changes or they leave you behind. And you cannot control the economic drivers. Neither can you control the demographics. Nigerians' population in 25 years will be 400 million. That's a driver. This campus will be too small in the next 30 years to control these drivers. Because you have to double the population in the next 20 years. You have to pull some of these buildings down and make them high-rise. Or you have to go digital. Because you can't have a population of 400 million people. They have to go to school. And that's a challenge that your new Vice Chancellor will have to be facing now. And that success will be how the domestic drivers respond to the external drivers. And these external drivers are changing rapidly, including producing students for the external markets. There's very little you and I can do. The medical doctors you are producing, they will go to UK, they will go to US, they will go to Australia. You can't stop them. There's nothing you can do. But what you can do is to become their friends. And part of what the new Vice Chancellor has to do is that we have to change the relationship between teachers and students. We have to move to a model of friendship. In 2 years, Generation Alpha will be your students. There are worse than Gen Z. There was. They're not going to read. They like visuals. They'll be playing with their computer as the teachers are teaching them. There is very little you and I can do about that. What we can do, and I run workshop on this, is to change the way we teach. Is to change the model away from authority to friendship. Because if we don't befriend them, there will be no money to expand the school. It is from your friends and the former students that the money to expand will come from. So, and teachers, some of you are here, we have to forget the previous model of patriarchal form of teaching. It doesn't work anymore. So, new way of teaching in which the new Vice Chancellor will be very proactive, bringing people like me to talk, and the long-term success we hinge on integrating moral leadership with technological prowess. Our students now are good with the internet, they are good with the virtual, they are impatient. As you are teaching them, they can access the knowledge. And unfortunately for the teachers who are behind, AI will teach them more than you are capable of doing. Drawing from strategic foresight, I want to suggest 4 major highlights for the new Vice Chancellor. First, you must consolidate digital transformation. It's in the book. You don't have to make notes. It's in the book. You must consolidate digital transformation. You must expand on global recognition. There must be leadership innovation. And the triumphs include medical excellence, academic expansion, and pedagogical innovation. Professor Jawale is taking over an exceptional university that he must build on. As he takes over, here is what he's going to inherit. He's going to inherit 5 legacies from our understanding of the place. Academic expansion, from 2 faculties in 1999 to 13 colleges in 2024. You have inherited that one. You are not the one creating it. You are inheriting medical excellence in Babcock University Teaching Hospital as a national template for private medical training. If you are sick in Lagos, anywhere in Ibadan, they say go to Babcock Hospital. When my friend had stroke, I woke up the Vice Chancellor in the middle of the night. And look, my friend is going to die. We rushed him to Babcock Hospital. From Ago, which has his own medical school, we rushed him here. So, Professor, the new Vice Chancellor, you are inheriting that medical excellence. Number 3, you are inheriting accreditation and quality. NUC has accredited all the core programs on this campus. You are inheriting global affiliations, membership of Adventist Global University Networks, and alliances with United States, Ghana, and Kenyan partners. And is inheriting pedagogical innovation, adoption of authentic assessment, and community-based learning in all disciplines. But you are also inheriting problems. Let me tell you the problems you are inheriting. Economic volatility. The naira that stabilized this university has collapsed. You are coming at a time of high inflation and currency fluctuation that will impact affordability and operations. You can't keep increasing school fees. You can't keep increasing it. You can add to it, but you can't quadruple it at a time of inflation. The cost of the maintenance of some of these buildings will be more than the original money they spent to build them. You inherit that. I'm sorry, oh. Second, you are going to inherit energy costs. Frequent power outages. I think one day Professor Tayo complained that they are spending 300 million, I can't remember, per month. That is not going to go away. It's going to increase. And you can't keep increasing school fees to meet energy costs. I know you are from Ibadan. You may go and bring your fitila and atupao. Because this is going to give you tremendous headache. Tremendous headache. Because if you don't supply electricity to the hostels, the students will protest. If you don't supply, they've called me under tire, staff here, that we don't have light for 1 week. Go talk to your friend. I say, it's not my friend. It's not my friend, no. So that is not going anywhere for now. You are going to inherit competition, vigorous competition, with Covenant, with Redeemers, with Afe Babalola. You are sharing the same market. And you have to set up a committee to study all these competitors and create a niche market for yourself, areas where they think they can do better than you, just forget those areas and focus on your niche. And number 4, technological gaps. Technological gaps. If you are too slow to adopt advanced digital infrastructure for the Gen Alpha, they are going to give you troubles. And you can't be slow in dealing with the generation of students coming in the next 2 years. They are very savvy. They don't want you to stand before them and be talking and talking and talking. That learning process, they don't relate to it. And they will tell the teachers, but what you are teaching me, I already know. What you are teaching me, I already know. Which is true. Because ChatGPT and AI has told them before they come to class. And you are going to inherit brain drain. So, regarding that brain drain, I think the university will say, okay, we've trained you in law, in engineering, you want to leave the country. Please remember us. If they remember, you are going to do well. I'm here today because I have passion for the university and I remember. If you have 100 people like us, we can transform the place. Yes, because it is those who remember. What is my projection strategies? Babcock University, like any other African university, is not an island. The 21st century witnessed transformational complexity in African higher education. Babcock University, as a model faith-based higher education reform, is a template. It's a fusion of morality and academic modernity. I've studied Ashesi University in Ghana. I'm on the Council of Lead City. I've spoken with Tafe Babalola University. And I've studied many of them in comparative context. Babcock University has a dualistic model. In that dualistic model, it represents a fusion of faith and learning. But it has to deal with triple challenge of expansion and relevance and autonomy. These are the 3 issues. The challenge of expansion, the challenge of relevance, and the challenge of autonomy. And it must continuously Africanize itself. The landscape has become so complex. Internationalization, massification, online learning, globalization of research, national development, all these are serious landscapes that you all have to plug yourself into. There must be strategic foresight, a committee that would think in terms of 30 years, 20 years, and 10 years. Creating foresights that will reimagine the campus in 30 years, and then you walk back to the present. And it must be able to anticipate changes in policy, because policy cannot stay the same, in technology. And my strategic forecast is to think in terms of strategic possibilities, to reconfigure the figure, think ahead of history, because if you think only about the past, the future will catch you like a thief in the middle of the night. And once you develop this foresight, 2 decades ahead, things will fall into place. You should aim to enter the top national and global rankings, and to this effect, you have to build an endowment that I've calculated at over $200 million. That's my projection. Babcock needs an endowment of $200 million. I don't know where you're going to get the money from. I'm just doing the calculation, Mr. Vice Chancellor. My job is not to look for the money for you. My job is to say this university needs a minimum endowment of $200 million. I understand there must be continuity. And your theme, knowledge, truth, and service, brilliantly conveys the triple vision. Your faith is consistent. Your moral academic environment is consistent. Mr. New Vice Chancellor, the Ogun State said you are retired. You are not retired, though. He's been appointed the Vice Chancellor of the Adventist Postgraduate School in Nairobi. So he's moving his wife and himself to Kenya to be eating beef. Umache. Financial diversification. The new Vice Chancellor has to build an endowment, a powerful alumni relations, and help faculties with research grants. Second, Babcock must create a digital ecosystem, and I'm advising that you launch what I call the BOA, Babcock University Online Academy. I thought you would clap for me. You already have your outreach, but in this BOA, you are targeting professional and diaspora learners. They don't have to come to this campus. You can now have a degree from a major university like here that you've never stepped on the campus. You can come for your convocation award. You can have a degree that somebody in New York and London can register for. You have already reached that stage. And I'm suggesting academic renewal by way of expansion of authentic assessment, experiential learning, retention of academic staff, and a substantial broader brand reputation across West Africa. There's nothing wrong to have a campus in Liberia and Ghana and Sierra Leone. It's doable. And you must accomplish this with. So, my suggestions include, and I want to close, institutional innovation. Babcock University Institute of Innovation and Futures, BIIF, is a think tank on AI, ethics, and African development. They're just thinking for you. They don't have to be strictly members of Babcock. You can tap them from your friends elsewhere, from church members. You're a member of institutional innovation. They just meet and they give you ideas. Second, Babcock must embark on what I call cultural diplomacy. You've seen an example of cultural diplomacy. In terms of ethics, governance symposium, you used to have the United Nations model here. I think I participated once. In that cultural diplomacy, the university can create a wide range of new programs around cultural diplomacy, connecting itself with music, with Nollywood, with the fashion industry. Third, the creation of knowledge diplomacy. Publish an annual Babcock University Africa Futures Report to influence policy on education for the continent. create a sustainability endowment, create a diaspora integration, Babcock Global Alumni Network, BGAN. You have many students abroad, but as I did my research, there's no network in place. Faith and science dialogue. The country needs a faith and science dialogue. And you could see in the controversy between Muslims and Christians, that dialogue is not there. And Babcock can say it wants to create faith and science dialogue for the country. Moral reasoning in emerging technology, in AI. Regionalization. Begin to create the possibilities of global colleges in Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Kenya, and create research excellence, entrepreneurship ecosystem, and global partnership. Let me close. Babcock University must remain a global front runner in education and a true standard bearer of moral modernization. A university where faith and innovation will intersect, where values will light the path of science, and where the future of African intellect finds its ethical direction. Jonathan, you can now complete your introduction.
Please, you may be seated. Thank you very much, Professor Toyin Falola. You will agree with me that that delivery was in a manner of ease and simplicity. He was fluent, he was articulate, and he was eloquent. The information that he shared was informative, highly informative, insightful, thought-provoking, engaging, and very dynamic. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give him another warm up. I want to invite Mr. Sheun Oladinin for a performance to appreciate that very wonderful creative delivery by our guest lecturer.
Okay, two poems titled A House of Dreams and When Tomorrow Learns to Speak. Poems by our dear Professor Toyin Falola, set to music, and we will just simply do this now. This presentation is in honor of our dear Professor and Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Ademola Tayo. Let's do this.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are winding down. I would like to invite Professor Grace Tayo, the Director of Research, Innovation, and International Cooperation of our very great institution, Babcock University, who will give us a vote of thanks. Professor Grace Tayo, please let's up.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, guests, faculty, staff, and students of Babcock University, I stand here on behalf of my husband, Professor Ademola Tayo, and the entire family to express our profound gratitude first to God Almighty, without whom we can do nothing. It is by His grace and mercy alone that we can be celebrating this milestone, the successful completion of a 10-year tenure as Vice Chancellor. To God alone be the glory. Our deepest appreciation goes to Professor Toyin Falola, my namesake, for generously funding and delivering this valedictory lecture. Thank you, Prof. Prof, you are a giant on whose shoulders many scholars are standing and shining. In an era where stars want to be stars alone, they want to cover the others and shine alone. He is not like that. He is identifying talents here and there and showcasing them. Prof, thank you very much. The spirit of academic excellence you embody has enriched this occasion beyond measure. By sharing your wisdom, you have not only honored Professor Tayo's legacy, but you have also inspired all of us. I want to thank you on behalf of my brother, the incoming Vice Chancellor, because today he has received a roadmap free of charge. Thank you very much, sir. So you have something to run with. Thank you very much, sir. When I was penning down this vote of thanks, I recalled that Prof has written 3 essays on Babcock University. The first one was on Professor Olajumoke Yekobaliso, the second one on Professor Ademola Tayo, the third one on the future of Babcock University. I never knew that he was coming up with another volume like this. Thank you, Prof. God bless you. I wonder how he finds time to write, things like this. I don't know. Thank you, Prof. May the Lord continue to bless you. I also wish to thank all the guests that have honored us today with their presence. I don't want to start listing the names, but let me just recall the Igbiles, Dr. Shangolano, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Ijaola, and others. Thank you very much for creating time to be with us. We are grateful to the organizing committee. Dr. Jonathan Dangana, a one-man team, though I think he has some other people that worked behind the scenes to make today's celebration seamless. Thank you very much. God bless you. To the principal officers, associate officers, deans, HODs, directors that work with Professor Tayo in this administration, we thank you all for your dedication and support. To our faculty, staff, and students of this great university, we are grateful to you for your love. Your unwavering commitment to Babcock University has been the cornerstone of the university's progress over the past decade. And to our family and friends, Yorubas will say, "Enioni Ashomi." You have been with us through thick and thin. Your presence reminds us that behind every achievement is a network of love and support. Finally, I want to thank our online viewers. I thank the pressmen, the cameramen, and all those in one way or the other have made this environment conducive, and our MC, because he's looking at me, I will not forget you. Thank you very much. We are grateful. May we all be blessed with many more moments of shared success. May Babcock University continue to flourish as we transition into a new administration. Thank you very much. As our custom, I would like to invite you to step forward for our token of appreciation. We definitely cannot pay for this lecture. Okay. We cannot pay for the lecture because you already paid for it anyway. But we just want you to know that we appreciate you, we love you, and because of you very much. More, sir. These are simply souvenirs from Babcock University. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, thank you very much. Prof also sponsored an award in my name, and that's given every graduation to students in, I can't remember if it's economics or something again. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Someone said I should read from the book, and I said, okay, one page. So, if you have a copy of the book, I want to read page 5 and 6. The analysis of your school anthem. Although I've given you 2 new anthems, and you see how beautiful these songs came. So, if you study your anthem very well, it's based on the concept of what I call omnipotent power that perfected all things. And your anthem is a response that serves to restore human confidence against the possibility of fear when they discover that there is no correlation between what they have said and reality. And that humans are not satisfied with myths and riddles, and they affirm, and university affirms the power of God. In your anthem, there's a surrender to God and spiritual forces and the capacity of humans using God's gift to transform society. So you sing, Hail Babcock, God's own university, built on the power of His word, knowledge and truth, good life here and forever. I broke this anthem down that you trace your origin to God Himself. God, not humans, becomes the creator of Babcock University. God's power is manifest on page 6. I'm reading what I wrote. In your history, in this anthem, the power of God refers to God's omnipotence, the all-powerfulness to do all that is consistent with his nature and will. I assume that the first two lines of Babcock University's anthem attempted to draw from two sources. I don't know who composed the item. But I asked myself, where is the composer drawing from? And I located two biblical passages, Psalm 19:1 and Luke 1:37. Remember, I'm not a pastor. In Psalm 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. And in Luke 1:37, for nothing will be impossible. I want you to complete it with God. I'm assuming whoever wrote that anthem read these two passages. That the power of God is more than just physical or military strength. It is also moral, creative, and redemptive, and seen in creation, miracles, forgiveness, and the transformation of individuals. I find a philosophy in the first two lines of your anthem, and I'm reminded of the work of Thomas Aquinas, who distinguished between God's absolute power, potential absoluta, what God could do, and God's ordained power, potential ordinata, what God wills to do in accordance with divine law and order. You know, in the hands of a scholar, what you take as simple becomes complicated. This asserts that the power of God, in this sense, drawn from your anthem, is beyond human understanding, but still logically inherent, as indicated in lines 3 and 4. The 8 lines can be clustered into two categories of experiential and spiritual dimensions of God in relation to the university, which will speak to philosophy, healing, providence, and transformation. But there are two secular-oriented lines in the anthem. You may disagree with me. There are two lines. Building a future for the youth, holistic education, the vision is still aflame. I'm not going to eliminate God from those two lines, but I will process those lines as the articulation of human agency. In the substantive chapters, I emphasize human agency, the capacity of individuals and collective actors to understand, transform, and reorient the structures, rules, and practices of institutions, whether political, educational, religious. Here is my mind map to interpret those two secular lines. When we talk about the decision of successive vice chancellors of Babcock, we are referring to the authority to make decisions on building, expansion, and consolidation. The vice chancellors are all religious, but it does not mean they will govern in the same way. Human agency is the capacity to act with intent and make choices that affect the world around us. It involves self-awareness, imagination, and collective will. Sociologists like Anthony Giddens and Pierre Bourdieu define agency as the opposite of structure. Actors who can act within constraints, but also have the power to change those constraints. And I pray, as Pastor Falola, that Vice Chancellor Jawole will act within the constraints, but God will also give him the power to change those constraints. So I'm announcing a prize, and I'll be leaving a check for the university to give annually to the best dean or the best head of department. That is my new initiative that I'm announcing. And since yesterday, I've been looking for the account to deposit the money. And Professor Aliso told me that the bossa is not around. Don't let me go with the money. Yeah, because I'm leaving for the prize, an initial donation of 2 million. Thank you.
Before he comes up, just a little announcement. I wish to remind all of us here, please extend this information to those who are outside of this place, that tomorrow we're going to have the valedictory, Senate valedictory, congregation valedictory tomorrow. The Vice Chancellor's Senate and congregation valedictory tomorrow, 3 p.m. And those who have been invited, yes, the venue is amphitheater tomorrow. We request that you be in attendance right on time, and indeed before the scheduled time. Tonight, 6 p.m., those who have been invited, you already have your invitation given to you for a dinner in honor of our President Vice Chancellor, courtesy of Professor Tony Falola, 6 p.m. today, 6 to 8 p.m. today. So I invite Professor Haliso to close in prayer.
May I request all of us to be on our feet. Please stand. Our Father in heaven, we thank you so much for loving us, for caring for us, for serving. Our Professor Emeritus, Toyin Falola, whom you brought all the way from the United States of America to speak to us today. Bless. Father, I pray a blessing to this place even for many years yet to come. We thank you so very much for bringing our President Vice Chancellor-elect, granting him air safety, land safety, to receive such provoking a presentation from our erudite scholar. We thank you for Professor Ademola Estayo, for his humility, for his leadership. As his tenure is clocking to a close, will never come to an end in his life and in that of his family's life. For everyone that has made a contribution to the good of Babcock University, your own university, from 1957 till today, and even until you come and claim us for that eternal kingdom. Father, for those that have gone to rest, we thank you for their services. For those that are still alive, Father, we thank you for their lives. For those that are active in service, we praise your holy name. For those that are incoming, you will empower them from above. And your university, this community that is called by your name, shall keep on shining as a light at the top of the hill. As your name is being glorified, humanities are served. The sick shall be healed. The ignorant shall become wise. Your name will be glorified. Professor Falola, once again, not only intellectual contribution, he has also contributed materially. Even this evening we heard he is setting up a foundation for the best dean or provost or dean or head of department at the end of every graduation he or she to be recognized. We don't know where all that money is coming from. The money that is spent on the air, on the road, in producing this fantastic over 600 pages of book about Babcock University. We are your children. We proclaim this evening that even material blessings will follow him. So many universities have recognized and are keeping recognizing him. And as he moves around, your angels will watch around him, and he will have always safe journey, and he will keep on blessing Babcock University as well for the weeks-long program that will climax on Monday by the declaration of the new Vice Chancellor. The process, every day, every minute, Father, take control. May your children be blessed. Many will be coming by air and by road from different parts of the world. Some are already on ground. Your blessings be with them. May we always look back and always declare, this was how the Lord has led us. For all other members of the administration, for standing by Professor Tayo, supporting his vision, but doing your job. We thank you for them, and we thank you, Father, but your blessings will also be with them. At this material time, Father, even if it is selfishness, I want you to bless also the transition committee that have worked day and night. Keep on blessing them. But I pray, Father, that you make all of us faithful till the end. Thank you for hearing us. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Well, it's been experiential for me mastering this ceremony. My name is Joshua Suleiman. So recession day, we'll have photo section outside of this auditorium. Please, we can take the reception now. The presidents and a guest lecturer with others will take the front exit. Others can take the back exit. Thank you very much.